I haven't done a swim session per se for a couple of months, and the last time I vaguely did anything like swimming was over a month ago.
Yeah, that really nice bike that I've been given, I've never ridden it before.
I don't think I've ever actually run a marathon.
Whose idea was this?
Marc came up with this really...
Why would you come up with something so ridiculous?
I mean, it's kind of such a tough
Where
thing
do you
to
think
even
for
try.
a moment that you would even like...
There's three of us now.
Yeah, but
Perfect for a
it's
team
a
relay.
record. I mean, like, we're not exactly pro athletes.
We thought about how
anymore,
hard
like,
this is. It's
do you realise...
But there's only one of them. That was two over one person.
To welcome Fraser to the team, one of us decided that we'd fly out to Lanzarote to partake in a challenge. Between the three of us, we will attempt to break a record, the Ironman Lanzarote course record, to be precise.
Go on, Emma. I'm just gonna walk for a second.
That's right, between the three of us, we are going to be attempting the Ironman Lanzarote racecourse as a team really in an attempt to break, or at least see how close we can realistically come to breaking the course record.
Yeah, well, before we head south down across the island to Puerto del Carmen for the start of the race, it's probably time we looked at some details for Ironman Lanzarote. It has been going for 26 years, and it's often referred to as the hardest race in the calendar. Perfect.
Yeah, and it takes place in May each year, but we're doing it under our own accord here in November on exactly the same course. Now that course has changed a little bit over the years, but we're going to be doing it on the course that male pro record was broken on in 2011 by Timo Bracht in a time of 8 hours, 30 minutes and 34 seconds. Now I'll be honest, I'm keen for us to try and beat that record, but let's just say maybe more realistically we're just going to try and get as close as we can.
So here is how the course looks for all of us. I will be taking on the swim, needing to break a time of 47 minutes 52 seconds. I'll be starting in the swim from this beach in Puerto del Carmen. It's a 3.8 kilometre sea swim and is fairly choppy. It's an out and back with an Australian exit where I'll run around Fraser back into the water to complete another loop. I will then exit the swim here and run up to where the usual transition area is for the event, where Fraser will be waiting on his bike ready to get tagged.
And for me, it's the bike. And the time I'm aiming to hit is 4 hours, 49 and 53 seconds. The Lanzarote bike course sees almost an entire loop of the island, including hills and some of my favourite parts. The El Golfo region, all the way up through Fire Mountain, down the backside of Tabiesco, up to Mirador del Rio, before looping back and eventually after a few hours of riding, back into Puerto del Carmen, where I started and where I'm going to hand over to Marc.
And finally, we have myself on the run, looking for a time of 2 hours, 47 minutes and 20 seconds. This is a 42.2 kilometre run, and I'll work my way up along the coastal path past the airport before making a U-turn and work my way back down before completing a couple of shorter loops to finish. The course is simple, relatively flat, but I will have to deal with a few pedestrians as this is a fairly popular tourist walkway.
Oh, I'm nervous. This challenge makes me nervous quite a lot because I've spent an awful lot of time training on the island of Lanzarote and I've never done the Ironman distance in Lanzarote for a reason.
I feel like I have got the lucky end because even if I'm really unfit, I know I can float for 3.8k. I'm going to be wearing a wetsuit. But as a team, I think we're pretty ambitious.
I've kind of erased it from my mind for a while, knowing that I've never run a marathon and I've got to run 42.2 kilometres. Collectively as a team, I think we're all pretty nervous. reckon Heather's going to be all right out there tomorrow?
Well, she's swimming pretty well at the moment, Mark.
It's very rough.
Safe to say, the jokes quickly subsided. The next morning had arrived, and we prepared for our fate. Good question. Where is Heather? Anyone seen Heather? No.
What's the time?
6:10. Gonna leave in 15, 20 minutes. Oh, there we go. You're not excited? You're not excited?
Why are you still here? Am I supposed to say that I'm not awake? Yep.
So all of us, full of energy, got ourselves to the start line.
The conditions were perfect. And after some trouble trying to line ourselves up with the start line...
Yeah, it's all right, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we're gonna come in line with you. 3, 2, 1.
We were off.
Some expert navigation going on here. That way. So Heather's done the turnaround on lap 1. She's heading back towards shore. I think we're fairly accurate on distance. It's quite hard to say. So if we do get ever so slightly wrong, she'll just swim a little bit extra at the end. Conditions are the same, so nothing really changes on the swim, just as long as we got the right distance. But she seems to be going really well.
It was quite hard work, and definitely by coming back on the land and seeing Fraser was cool, and I could have quite happily stopped then to then go back out and do it all over again. I just started to feel a bit tired. I could definitely tell my lack of fitness. It's yeah, my arms are tired.
Yeah, just maybe to the building, I reckon. We are on 37 minutes. All right, I think actually we were a bit concerned maybe we'd overdone it on the first lap, but she was maybe 100 metres further, so not as bad as we thought, just cutting the second lap a little bit shorter, but yeah, looking good actually.
Picked up since this morning when Heather started. But it's Lanzarote, huh? It's supposed to be windy. Tell you what, these wheels, woo!
Yeah, now I've just left Fraser and Marc with a lot of work to do. So, I mean, Fraser's just retired as a pro, so he's surely the one that's, makes sense for him to have the biggest chunk of it. He's got to go more than 13 minutes quicker than the record holder did. And I mean, the conditions seem nice here. There's a bit of a breeze picking up, but hopefully it's going to be a tailwind for him. And then on his way back, the wind drops. We need everything on our side, I think, because I haven't really given the guys the best chance. So yeah, my bad.
With the race as it is, Fraser needs to complete the ride in 4 hours and 36 minutes. So Heather and I thought we'd track him down and show him a little bit of support. Just tracking Fraser. He is going through Timber Fire at the moment.
In 500 metres, turn right onto Camino.
That's our Google directions telling us where to go to catch him up.
Probably just a couple of
kilometres? No, but he's very close. He's at the top of this hill, he's taking a left, so we'll be with him in the next minute or so. He's doing really well. We've been trying to chase him down for a while now. I have been planning to ride with him, but at this rate, we're going to struggle to catch him and have enough time for me to ride with him before I have to do my run. So. We spotted Fraser. He's got some speed, 60k an hour. How you doing? You alright?
Word, it's windy.
Right, we've just passed Fraser, so the plan is for me to join him. So just getting everything out quickly. I'm going to get changed. We do have a slight issue though on the kit front because Fraser was very well prepared and forgot his bike jersey. So he has got my bike jersey. That leaves me with either Heather's bike jersey, which will obviously be quite small, some Speedos,
I reckon you'll fit in.
probably not a good choice, or a tri-suit, so I'm going to possibly go with the tri-suit.
I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just hoping you stay a while. I can change this. I can shake this fate.
Okay, we're desperately trying to catch Marc and Fraser. So we dropped Marc off, hence why he's not in the car anymore, and he is helping Fraser for a little bit, but we've got to try and catch them, obviously, to get some clips of them actually riding their bikes, but then we've got to pick Marc up again to take him to the start of the marathon.
Do you think he's forgotten about the marathon?
Well, I am slightly concerned. We've been kind of chasing Marc for a little while, and I think he's just loving riding his bike.
Well, yeah, I was. After climbing almost 700 metres, it was time to descend down Tabiesco.
Marc rode with me for about 50 kilometres. And by the time he dropped off, I was feeling pretty exhausted. It all of a sudden felt pretty lonely. And it made me realise just how hard the Ironman Lanzarote course must be. I really had to dig deep to get to the finish line.
How are you feeling?
Apprehensive. Yeah, we just peeled off and left Fraser to it. He's finishing the last, I'd say about 60k. So I've just got changed and grabbed a few snacks. We're going to make our way over there. But yeah, I think where we've just been busy, I've been cheering everyone on and obviously trying to help Fraser a little bit on the bike. Haven't really thought too much about the run, so I haven't really eaten that, well today. So I don't feel massively prepped, but what's really getting me going is this excitement and everyone's pushing themselves. So I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Just not the usual preparation.
As Marc prepped, I suffered. I'd been to a fairly dark place on this ride, but the closer I got to the finish, and the more I could feel my legs picking up the pace, and knowing I didn't have to run after certainly helped drive me forwards. And then the road started to open, and I found a reason to love riding the bike again. This was it, the last stretch, and a beautiful descent back into Puerto del Carmen. I could feel the end, so I gave it everything.
Literally, we just arrived, just having a little stretch. Okay, that's Fraser there. Here he comes. Look at that timing.
Well done.
So, this was it. Me off to complete my first ever marathon. We really had only just arrived, and I wasn't feeling particularly well prepped. I had a 29-minute deficit to pick up, so I would really have to pull something quite special out of the bag to succeed at this challenge.
Everyone's worried I'll go too hard too quick. Yeah, I think they're probably right.
It maybe wasn't hard to guess at the beginning of my run that we had lost the record. However, a little oversight on our part, we didn't have any aid stations. It wasn't until mile 13 that I got any fluid, but I was already in trouble and suffering with dehydration. True to form, the guys stayed with me the whole way. But as the rain began to fall, I had a decision to make. Either stop because the record had gone, or complete the challenge for the sake of the others.
I think it has dawned on all of us, though, as we realise that the record is well and truly gone, sadly. That is not in sight today. So now it's just a matter of trying to get Marc home. He's already walked a little bit at the halfway point. So, you know, walking is happening. And I think it's just maybe when he gets to that point, we did have a bit of a chat of like once we actually get to 8 hours 30 and the record's definitely gone, that could be a mental point for Marc to maybe say, okay, I really don't know what he'll choose, and we have got to work tomorrow, so he might be thinking of that because, you know, he does take his job at GTN very seriously as well. So it just depends like how it's weighing up and quite how clear his mind is when he's like in this state that he's in right now.
After 3 hours and 30 minutes, I did eventually manage to drag myself across the finish line in the dark.
Woo! Well done.
We had all known for a while that the record wasn't actually going to be broken. But as we stood there congratulating Marc, it just suddenly didn't seem to matter.
The record was gone, but it was more just for ourselves, see what we could do. But that whole team element, it just kept me going. I think, I do wonder whether if this was my own race and I was running on my own, I probably would have stopped because I felt horrific. But the fact that I knew the other two had worked so hard prior to that point, I just had to finish.
Well, guys, that was definitely an epic day yesterday.
Yes, some more than others, maybe.
Yeah, it was long for us out there.
We are all still standing, I'm glad to say, and we've had time to reflect a little and add up the numbers. Now, my swim, including transition, came in at just over an hour, 1 hour and 59 seconds.
That's right, and my bike time was 5:05:52.
And although my run did start off very well, I'm very sorry, guys. I ended up with a 3 hours 31:16.
You gave it a good go, though. You really did.
But that gave us an overall time of 9 hours 38 and 7 seconds. So a fair chunk off Timo's time.
That's fair to say.
Where would that have put us in the race?
Well, that would actually put us as 11th male pro overall. And actually, we did still beat Natasha Badman's time, who won the female pro race on that day.
Well, thanks guys for helping me to that one, because it definitely didn't start us off right. But I mean, yes, we didn't manage to succeed in the challenge, but we did complete it. And I think, you know, Fraser, you definitely feel like you're part of the team after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely feel like I'm in the gang.
Yeah, well, what's up for the next challenge then?
Oh,
watch this space.
I don't know.
Well, if you like this video, do hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to see more from GTN, click on the globe and subscribe.